Hey there, everybody. Happy Wednesday morning to you. Welcome into this Wednesday morning edition of Morning Dose. I'm Gary Streisky.
I'm Layla Muhammad.
And I am Melissa Rycroft.
We're starting off this hour with a story that broke overnight. The serial bomber in Austin has been identified, and police say that man died overnight. A heavy police presence on the scene right now in Austin, where the suspect blew himself up with an explosive device. This is just north of the city. Let's head now to the scene where we are joined by Kristen Holmes live in Round Rock. Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning. The Austin bombing suspect is dead, and as you can see behind me, it is still a very active crime scene. We are just outside of Austin, so let me break down what led us here. Authorities say that they had been getting several tips as well as eyewitness accounts, evidence, looking at video surveillance, and had honed in on one suspect about 36 hours ago. Now, at roughly 2 a.m., they located the suspect's vehicle parked in a parking lot of a hotel, one of the hotels just behind me. Now, at this point, they tried to surround the vehicle. They had SWAT teams, but while they were waiting for tactical vehicles to arrive, the suspect was in the car, drove off. It was then that he detonated a bomb, sustaining major injuries and, of course, eventually dying from those injuries. Now, they haven't identified him yet. They haven't notified the next of kin. They say they will be identifying him later, but all we know now is that he's a 24-year-old white male. Now, this city has been living in terror, and the police chief said it's not quite over yet. He was warning people to still be careful because there are several unknowns. One of them is whether or not he had an accomplice. The other is they don't know what this suspect has been doing for the last 24 hours. There is a concern that there are still packages out there. So they are asking residents of Austin not to breathe completely easy just yet, to maintain their vigilance, to, if they see something suspicious, to make sure and call it in because they don't want another situation. And as I mentioned earlier, there are several different factors that led them to this suspect. Of course, one being surveillance video, the other eyewitness testimony, eyewitness accounts, and then a third, which is other evidence that the police chief said could have, we don't know exactly where it came from, but one of the ideas that we have is what happened yesterday. We know there were 2 bombs that were sent to FedEx facilities. They were being processed through FedEx facilities, and one of them didn't detonate. Now, then we learned from law enforcement this could be incredibly helpful in figuring out who this bomber was. There could be something in that package. They know who it was addressed to. They've been contacting them, or there could be fingerprints. So this is another possible reason of how they got here. But again, citizens of Austin will be at least breathing a little bit easier knowing that this is almost over. Reporting live from Round Rock, Texas, I'm Kristen Holmes. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Yeah, like she said, people just, breathing a sigh of relief.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, right. Because the big thing is, are there more packages?
Did he send out a bunch before this happened? Exactly.
Was there an accomplice? Was somebody helping? So hopefully they can get to the bottom of those answers. The president, though, did weigh in on Twitter this morning regarding the whole Austin situation. Austin bombing suspect is dead. Great job by law enforcement and all concerned. Right now, we're going to get you up to date on the top headlines this morning. Krista Gutierrez is standing by with the Morning Essentials.
Good morning, guys. Shutdown. Congress missed yet another target to unveil a $1.3 trillion spending bill overnight. Talks continue this morning with just days to go before another deadline for a government shutdown. This is the 3rd potential shutdown this year. Another tough day for Betsy DeVos. The embattled education secretary is facing harsh criticism this morning after a hearing with the House over proposed budget cuts to education. Those cuts focus on Obama-era regulations protecting civil rights of minority students. DeVos faced a lashing from lawmakers, including from Congresswoman Barbara Lee, who says DeVos has her head in the sand about racial bias and discrimination. Election security. The U.S. Senate is taking on election security. Lawmakers have scheduled a hearing to look into election security for the midterm elections. Even though the panel has called for a funding increase, there is no consensus over how much. High demand. The Smithsonian has moved the painting of Michelle Obama because of the high demand to see it. The painting has been moved to a larger space so it can accommodate all of the visitors who are wanting to take a look. All right, let's take a look now at that national weather radar. Looking at the D.C. area, you can expect about 3 to 5 inches of snow today. Delaware Valley could also expect about 5 to 8 inches of snow. North Texas and Southeast Texas will be dry. South Florida also dry today. And in the Pacific Northwest, you do have a slight chance of showers today and into the night. We'll have more details for you on your full local forecast coming up in just a few minutes. But for now, we'll start off with Gary and Shane.
Gary and Melissa.
Oh, hey, Melissa.
Hey, Shane.
Thanks, Krista. Hey, the Northeast being dealt a bad hand these past couple of weeks. You saw it there on that national map. 4 now Noreasters pounding New England.
That's right. They're calling it the 4-Easter.
Oh, punny.
Gary. And as the snow continues to fall on the East Coast, we are heading out to Philadelphia, where we join Matt Alba. So, Matt, tell us, how are the conditions out there, and how is everybody getting ready for this 4th storm?
Hey, good morning, Melissa, Gary. Well, right now, just in the past hour or two, the snow really has started to pick up. We're in our mobile unit right now. We're driving around some of the Philadelphia suburbs, and there's probably about an inch or 2 falling right now, but I'll show you the roads here. We're in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, and this area could see up to 12 inches of snow today. Some of the nor'easters that we saw this month were worse than others. The one storm brought heavy snow that brought down countless trees in the tri-state area, thousands of trees, large ones at that. Now, the current record breaker for Philadelphia in the month of March was the storm of the century. That was on March 12th, 1993, in which a foot of snow fell, and we may very likely have a new #1 March snowstorm today by the end of the day. In New Jersey, the governor declared a state of emergency, and here in the city of Philadelphia, it is a snow emergency for today. Authorities say travel will likely be perilous, and there will be mass cancellations of air, rail, and transit travel. More than 200 flights heading to and leaving Philadelphia International Airport were canceled yesterday, and plenty more of those cancellations are expected today. So you just saw that the road conditions out here, icy, snowy. Throughout most of the morning, it was just raining, and it is now switching over. It's expected to snow for the better part of the day. So yesterday, we were seeing free ice cream cones at Dairy Queen, and today, that was the first day of spring. Today, the second day of spring, we're seeing tons of ice and snow. So not very fun. I can't wait for it to warm up, like some of the weather you guys have in Texas. But we will send it back to you guys.
Thank you so much. And he brought it up. I was going to say, this is now day 2 of spring, and apparently I would predict this is going to be now the biggest storm that they've ever had in March, right?
You can go outside and make your own snow cone at this point in Philly. Oh, we just want to point out too, Matt Alba was not driving that mobile unit in Philly. And even if he was, that would be pure talent. Thanks, Matt. Yeah. All right, thousands of flights, like he mentioned, have already been canceled. So if you're traveling out there, be aware of your flight schedule. In the meantime, we're going to kick it over to Layla and Shane with more. Hey, guys.
Hey, so the battle and animosity between Robert Mueller and President Trump has been well documented, mainly via the president's Twitter feed, which, by the way, he is tweeting about right this second. But the president is earning criticism for the way he's handled the situation.
Yeah, specifically from GOP Senator Jeff Flake. Flake tweeted this past Tuesday night, last night, "We're begging the president not to fire the special counsel. Don't create a constitutional crisis. Congress cannot preempt such a firing. Our only constitutional remedy is after the fact through impeachment. No one wants that outcome, Mr. President. Please don't go there."
Now, Flake has been one of the most prominent critics of the president among the Senate. He's compared Trump possibly ending the Mueller probe to Richard Nixon's firing of the special prosecutor during Watergate. Senator Lindsey Graham was one of the first to speak about the possibility, but says now he isn't worried about that possibility.
I don't see any reason to fire Mr. Mueller. You're going to have cause to fire him. I think anything directed at firing Mr. Mueller blows up the whole town, and that becomes the end of governing in the presidency as we know it. And I have zero concern that Mueller is going to be fired by Trump. Zero.
The good old USA.
The White House is insisting that President Trump is not considering firing the FBI special counsel. The House Speaker himself, Paul Ryan, says he's gotten assurances Trump won't fire Mueller, but declined to say from whom. Many Republicans said they saw no need to pass legislation to protect Mueller, something that might antagonize the president.
So right now he's tweeting a quote, so he's mid-tweet. And the quote talks about what the role of the special counsel is to find crimes, whether crimes exist or not. But there's a part that says, I think President Trump was right when he said there never should have been a special counsel appointed. So he's mid-retweeting someone's quote.
So we'll have the rest of that
coming
later
out
on in the show.
We have a look at the Whether We Live on Morning Dose. Also, who would win a game of basketball, NSYNC or Backstreet?
I'm in sync.
Keep it here.
Let's see what the weather looks like in North Texas as you step outside today. Really nice day, start to your day, rather. About 52 degrees, so a little warmer than we were yesterday. Feeling a little more like spring. We're going to get to about 71 degrees. The perfect temperature, if you ask me. Going to be beautiful outside, sunny skies. And then this evening, that low will be at about 62 degrees. So we've got a great day ahead weather-wise. How about traffic? Well, let's take a look at the latest live traffic info. As always, powered up by Waze. Things looking pretty good. Denton and Collin County faring pretty well this morning. We do have a few accidents this morning that we want to take a peek at. You're looking at State Highway 114 in Southlake. That's right near the DFW airport, not causing major delays, but we'll keep an eye on that. We'll zoom out so you can see right there at the north of the airport is where that is being reported. And then we do have an accident here, State Highway 121 north in Grapevine. This being reported as a major accident right at Main Street. Keep it here on Morning Dose.